Everybody join me in a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's get the agenda up here. Any public comment? There's nobody here, so that makes it simple. I assume you've had a chance to read the minutes.
I have.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.
Unknown clerk.
Commissioner comments and committee reports.
The only thing is, we have our K.S.A. meeting coming the 12th, 13th, and 14th coming up.
And there will be no meeting next week of the county commissioners. Our next meeting will be the 18th, which we will also canvass the votes at that time.
Okay.
I have nothing further.
That's what I was going to say. So we've got it all communicated. Okay. New business before the board. I have a purchase order here for some repairs done on our boiler in the amount of $3,004.50. The chair will entertain a motion to approve this purchase order.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Now, this K.S.A. project, Pat, are you going to present that?
Sure. This is the formal contract to hire the engineer, which is Schwab Eaton. This is for the Rural Road Highway Signing Project. And this is a grant from Kansas Department of Transportation. The engineer was selected through a process that you were involved with some months ago. KDOT has negotiated a little lower price with them than what had been originally proposed. Under the terms of the grant, the contract is with you, even though KDOT is paying it. So these contracts are very similar to contracts we've signed on other similar projects where we've had grants from KDOT, typically on off-system bridges, but we also had another road signage project a few years ago. I see no impediment to them, and I'd recommend that they be signed. There are 3 originals, consultants original, counties original, and states original, and so all 3 of them would need to be signed. If there are questions, I could answer them. The total cost for the engineering is $30,000, not to exceed $30,000. Again, that's to be paid by KDOT, not by the county, under the terms of our grant.
The chair will entertain a motion to enter the K.S.A. project number 3 contract with Schwab Eaton. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I so second, Mr. Chairman.
Any further discussion? Any questions? Hearing none, I assume you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. And let's see who you guys will get all these
I
signed.
think all 3 of you signed the first, if I'm not mistaken, on the first place, but only one signature on the second. And then it also needs to be attested by the county clerk, but we'll get that after the meeting.
So all of them look like they have to be signed by all 3 of us. At least.
Oh, in both places. My mistake.
So we all got to sign it away.
Just go in the same order so
Yeah.
we don't miss anything.
We're not missing something. Yeah, good point. You might as well just pass it down to Linda when you're finished.
Okay.
She can get it notarized from the clerk.
I also noticed that there's a place for a date on there. I didn't fill it in, so.
Okay.
Okay. Any old or unfinished business before the board? Evidently not. County council update.
I have two things, both related to tax sale, one old, one new. We had a hearing yesterday. As you might recall, there had been an objection filed to confirmation of the sale. The court confirmed the sale, ruled in the county's favor. So that sale has been confirmed, and it won't be too long then before we have the distribution, and the treasurer then will be able to get those taxes off of the books. So somebody looking at our online records wouldn't think that those taxes were still unpaid, that they've been discharged or paid in the sale, depending on what the sale price was. And that's it with regard to the prior tax sale. With regard to the upcoming tax sale, we've had communication with Amy Coder at O'Keefe Wilson, and they are finishing up the last couple of the abstracting and talking about timing for the filing of the next sale. I'm assuming we'll have those within a couple of weeks, so certainly the case will be filed before the end of the year. With it being filed in that time frame, it's not possible to have the final, to have the sale, if you will, in March or April, which is what you had talked about at some time earlier, just because after the filing, we've got probably at least 90 days of getting service of process, followed by a 41-day publication window. And then after the sale, there's publication again for an entire month before the sale. So putting those things together, it would at the earliest be the beginning of the summer when a sale could take place. And that's, we're still rooting out a little bit on the identification of the parcels, but there were some parcels that were initially listed that have not been sent for abstracting, and sending those potentially create another 6 weeks to 8 week delay in filing. I don't know how many additional ones that would entail, but we, that is the treasurer, and Roger Denton, who helps us with the electronic end of things, the county clerk, and I have been discussing that and whether it's worthwhile to wait for those. We've also talked about maybe changing our process where we're even doing the abstracting for the next sale before one sale is complete, so that we can maybe get on a little bit different calendar.
So you're talking about at the end of the summer or next fall?
For having the sale, yeah. Having the sale, the case that hasn't been filed yet. Right.
It's more complicated than I ever dreamed. The property owners, this really favors the property owner to go through all the bells and whistles, and that's important.
Well, there's obligations upon us, and rightfully so. We are taking property from a landowner, but there's obligations on us of due diligence that we need to do, and some of those take more time than others. And but I am confident that we have more buy-in of getting assistance with things that other people can assist us with, particularly in the service of process, and getting information about where people live, or whether they've moved, or whether they're deceased, and that sort of thing. Also, I guess maybe this is the third thing. I talked with the programmers at CIC, which is our county's computer software system, and we had at one time several years ago ordered a report that the CIC system could produce, identifying all properties that had delinquent taxes on them, so that to make it a lot easier to identify properties that should go into the sale. I talked to their programmer Thursday or Friday of last week, and he was finishing things up, and we made a couple of tweaks, really, but I expect we'll have that tool available to us, well, certainly before the K.S.A. convention, which is 2 weeks, right?
Next week.
Next week.
12th,
That's what-
13th.
Okay. Yeah, as you said, you'd have it before then, so
I have a tax sale question. Of course, the boys' home is on the tax sale.
it's been identified as one of the
College.
properties, yes.
And what about the Lockwood?
Don't know, I can look it
I
up.
don't think it's on there.
I don't know if taxes are. even-
Somebody asked me about the Lockwood building, so
I'll look.
There's a realtor sign in front of it too this morning.
Didn't he pay up last year enough to get it out of Hawk?
well, you can still sell it. It's kind of-
Right. Yeah, I wasn't aware that it was.
Somebody asked me that yesterday. Maybe it's not that important, but at least I could give them an answer.
It'll take me 5 minutes to find it, but
Okay.
I can sure look it up.
It's probably
Okay.
something that don't need to be on.
Anything else, Pat?
No,
Okay. Okay. Any need for an executive session? Okay, public comment. You're our public,
Ma'am?
ma'am. You're our public. Do you have any comment?
No, actually, I like questions.
Okay, okay, come on up. Come up to have a chair close to us. You have to scream at us.
Okay.
You want to,
Will you give us your name and address for the record?
My name is Elisa Blanco. I'm a student reporter at Atchison College.
Mm-hmm.
So I
class
was
of '88,
not-
class of.
Well, I graduated with St. Benedict's.
I went to university.
I want to keep reminding people that 1971.
I went to University of Knockabout. That's where you learned about it. Okay, go ahead, man.
So why are you guys actually having this meeting today?
Well, let me try to answer it the best I can. We have a meeting every week
Okay.
with a governing body, and we manage the county both managerially and legislatively. So we set policy procedure. We also manage spending, and so the county commissioners have a wide set of responsibilities. And we usually let public comes in, talks to us about issues. We have a workshop in the morning where we go over a lot of the details of road and bridge and that type of thing beforehand. So it's an all-day meeting, and the public meetings only starts at 1 o'clock. It usually can last up to 5 o'clock. Usually lasts a little longer than it's going to today. So.
Okay. So what is the importance of these meetings being open to the public?
Well, so actually, we collect taxes. We levy taxes. So obviously, the way we spend, the way we do things should be done as they call it, in the sunshine, in an open meeting session. So anybody can say, you're being recorded right now. So just so you're going to, it's only going to be your back of your head. But if you go to our Facebook page in a couple hours, you'll see yourself.
Okay.
On film. So we try to keep it as open as transparent to all citizens. Our agendas are posted on our county website. Our workshop agendas are on the county website, and the minutes of the meetings are on the county website. So it's pretty open. Have you looked at our website?
No, what is your website?
It's atchisoncounty.org,
KS.org.
ks.org. But if you go on there, you can see about us as commissioners. You can look at our last year's budget. You can look at your tax bills. It's pretty
Parcel
cool.
search, nuisance complaint.
Mhm.
There's some everything that the county is offering the services and what we're involved in should, that's where we list it.
Okay.
Now, we could actually move into an executive session, isn't it, which is deemed privileged. And that would be usually to consult with a lawyer or to buy property or things that we consider privileged. So we can have an executive session. So we can talk in private, but you have to have good reason.
Yeah.
And you can't just say, hey, I don't want anybody to hear this. We'll talk, ask me for. Usually a attorney-client or attorney-property type of situation.
Or if we're talking about employee, if we need an employee privacy.
Not only is she a Benedictine student, she's left-handed like me. Where are you from?
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh,
Yeah.
Close by.
Yeah, not too far. So what do you guys usually talk about during these meetings? Like what, I'm not trying to be too broad. But can you just give a few examples of things that you guys talk about?
well, I think today you saw us approve a contract with the state of Kansas, which is part of a grant process. And so we approved that contract. So we may approve a contract. We may approve an ordinance or a resolution in regard to multiple situations. You also saw us approve a purchase order for a boiler. We usually approve mostly we approve all expenditures more than $2,500. And the ones that are under $2,500, we actually see, you want to hold that up, Bill, this packet of bills. So we actually approve every penny expended by the
County.
county.
So how do you guys decide that you guys are going to approve these or not?
Well, we usually refer back to our budget.
Okay.
Each department is given a budget. Elected officials are given a budget. And county governments are unique in the regard that we have department heads, road and bridge, ambulance, my mind's dropping.
Nursing home.
Solid waste, joint
Ambulance.
communications. Then we have elected officials, who in reality we're just co-equals. The treasurer's an elected official, the sheriff's an elected official, the clerk is an elected official, county attorney is an elected official, register of deeds is an elected official. So their bosses are not the county commission; their bosses are the voters. So every 4 years they're up for election, and they would have to campaign to maintain their job, same as we do. We're all also elected officials.
Okay. So after these meetings, so what happens after, once these projects are started? Is that it, or are there more parts to it, or is there I think what I'm trying to ask is, what if there's not enough, funding for a project, even though it might be sound like a good project to approve?
If I may, it first starts out, the department head will bring us something and saying, here's an estimate, and we'll approve to go ahead or not. Then the project will be completed, then we'll get the bill, and then we will approve the bill, and that person will be paid.
Okay.
But the appropriations are done through the budget.
Okay.
And sometimes after we go home and pull our hair out.
So how long have you guys been commissioners?
I'm starting.
You started at 12 years old? Or?
No. As of January 1, I'll be starting on my 8th year.
Okay.
My second, it might be the end of my second term.
How about you?
Well, I served 2 years of someone else's term, and I've served 1 year of my own term. So I guess 3 years, 3.5 years.
You were city commissioner for.
Yeah, I was a city commissioner before that. And it seems like a lot longer.
And I've served 5 years. I also was appointed to fill the last year and 9 months of my predecessor's term, and then I ran 4 years ago. And so it's actually been a little longer than 5 years.
So how does one become a commissioner?
You have to run for office.
Okay.
Or be appointed.
Well, you know, if the word appointed is you're not appointed by the commission.
Right.
This is a partisan job, so I think all three of us at this committee are, and this group are all Republicans. So if I would resign, they would call a convention of the Republicans in my district. My district is most of the city of Atchison, and then the convention delegates, which are they call precinct captains, would actually vote on who they wanted the replacement to be. So it's still political, and it still requires a vote. It isn't just, hey, you're it. So,
Right.
and you have to live within the district that you're appointed to.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Eric,
he's in the eastern side of the western side of the county. I'm in the city of Atchison. He's kind of
Southeast.
central. So we definitely are responsible for certain areas.
So why did you guys want to become commissioners or like run for the position?
Well,
Sometimes
that's
I
actually-
wonder that.
That's why I've been having my head examined.
My grandpa was a very wise man. He told me at a very young age, Bill, if you're willing to complain about something, be willing to make things better. And I was at an age of my life and I wanted to give back to the community. I consider it an honor to serve as a county commissioner. We all represent several people.
Yeah.
I'm not here for, I want my this or I want that. I want to serve the whole county.
So I guess for myself, I've been in the corporate world. I actually was a professor at Benedictine. I was an entrepreneur, and I wanted to give back. And actually, I started in 2009, so 10 years ago, I became a city clerk. And so I've been in public service now for about 10 years. It's gratifying if you can make a difference and you can change things. We gotta. If you don't grow, you're not moving on. So.
What is your favorite part of the job?
You can see some improvements, whether it be roads, bridges, employee salaries, benefits, improvements on our facilities, more services to our taxpayers. And a good pat on the back every once in a while doesn't hurt you, saying you're doing a good job.
I think Bill said it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
We work for the taxpayers. Every one of the people out there work for us. Even though we are in districts, we all listen to people from all over Atchison County. So, but our main focus is on the constituents in our districts.
What about you?
I think Bill said it real well. You know, you really want to take with the taxes as high as they are, you really want to try to get as much bang for the buck. And when you implement a program or you purchase something, and you can see that it's going to be in the long run a tax saver for the county, that's kind of satisfying when you the programs that you implement might do the most that they can for the money you spend.
are all great answers. So what do you, so you guys are like all like talking about, you know, the county and the community. How do you think that they are, maybe benefiting from, the commissioner's office?
You know about the citizens?
Yeah.
Well, we provide roads, bridges, so transportation. We provide ambulance, which is for health and safety, and we have the
Senior care center.
senior care center. We own the senior care center up called Atchison Senior Village, and we also provide police. Sheriff, law enforcement. We assess the properties and the values. We bill the taxpayers. We collect the money from the taxpayers. We collect the bad debt. You were just hearing us talk about the tax sale a minute ago. Collect the bad debt. So we, as a we also have the attorney. We prosecute the courts. So it's a very complex operation.
So what would you say, I'm trying to incorporate my school into this. So how do you think that Benedictine College is maybe
Benefiting?
impacted? Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, Benedictine College doesn't pay any taxes, so they get a pass because of their government, their nonprofit status. But all those dorms up there that have been built over the last 8 or 9 years, they have actually borrowed money through us, in a form of a bonding.
Okay.
So they have benefited from our bonding, and we've not charged them any kind of fees for the bonding. So I'm not sure exactly which ones were built, but it started. I think we've probably done about 4 or 5 bonds with them. Plus, as interest rates have dropped, we've helped them refinance their bonds to the lowest interest rate, which lowers their cost. Okay. So that's probably the biggest thing that we do for Benedictine College. Okay. And then also we have interns that work within the county. And we believe that Benedictine College has been one of our big assets in the community. So it's nice that we can have some interns and let them share their expertise with us.
So how many of these interns do you guys get?
I think currently we have 2 engineering interns, but that varies throughout the year. A lot of times we'll have an accounting intern during budget season. So it's a small number of students, but I think they learn a lot, and then we get to learn from them too. Yeah. A lot of times they have their newer thought processes and systems, and it makes a big difference.
So what are like some of the cons of the job? Like what are some of like the downfalls of being a commissioner?
I can't really think of it. I mean, no, I can't think of it. Well, no, sometimes you get beat up on by those citizens out there, but most of the time, citizens want to hear what's going on, and why don't you give them a good answer? This is our goal. This is where we're headed. This is the way we have the process. I think people just want to be told, or just want to understand.
Yeah. We
have great citizens in this county, in this city. We're lucky. We're blessed.
I'm glad to hear it. Is there anything else that you guys would like to add, or?
Think of anything.
You didn't ask about who this guy is.
Oh yes. So what did you have as council?
Well, county counselor means I'm the lawyer that represents the county in most civil cases, most civil matters.
So actually, he's our attorney. You make it simple. And the county clerk, which is Linda, is not the county clerk, but she works in the clerk's office.
Assistant county.
They're going to take our notes. They'll publish our notes. They'll publish all the agendas. They do a lot of things to support us in that regard.
Another thing that the county does that is fitting today is the elections. You know, the county is responsible for handling all the elections, which are taking place today countywide. That's a big responsibility, and Michelle does a great job. And one other thing that I can think of the county does that wasn't mentioned is the county health clinic, which is down on the mall, which is NEK Multi-County Health.
And
There's
community corrections. And corrections.
Community corrections is another one. So, you know, we don't mean to leave anybody out. Sometimes it's just hard to think of them all when we're sitting here.
Yeah, there's so many.
Mhm.
Okay, I think that's all that I have, guys.
Okay, well, thanks for coming
Yeah,
in.
thank you.
Thanks for your interest.
Are you just writing a paper, or is this an assignment?
Yeah, it's an assignment.
This is for communications class?
Yes.
Good luck with that.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
So if I were to want to follow up with any of you guys, how would I do that?
Well, I'll give you my card, and I have an email address on
Okay.
there. And a telephone number. And maybe some would want to also give a card.
I don't have a card, so I'm old school.
That's cool.
I'm old school.
I'm sorry.
That's good. I got lots of mine. I ordered 200, actually 1,200. Which I have to be here for 50 years to use all of them. Hey, thanks a lot. Good luck with your semester.
Thank you.
I wanted to say the Lockwood property that was mentioned, I don't show that it was ever delinquent in
Okay.
taxes, that,
We shouldn't have.
I didn't think
Well,
that it was.
I would agree in general, except the name was mentioned earlier, so I thought I'd mentioned it.
Well,
I don't
somebody
know that
asked
they were
me
delinquent in taxes.
the other day, and I said I didn't know. I'd find out. So now I can inform them. So. Anything else? Okay, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn at 1:37.
So move.
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.